Hello, worship team. I have a sick kiddo, so I'm going to be teaching music theory lesson from home today. I hope I teach it well enough that you don't have a whole lot of questions, but if you do, you can let me know, and we will try to fill in the gaps next week if there are any. But I figure at least I want to introduce you to these concepts. What concepts, might you ask? These concepts. Okay, first, I want to do a quick review of sharps and flats, right? So we see our keyboard here. I believe most of us are familiar with the keyboard. We might not know it really well, but we're at least familiar with the fact that each key has its own letter name. It starts alphabetical order A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it starts over again A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so on. Then we have these little black notes, okay? A, B, C, D, E, F, G names the white notes. The black notes are our accidentals or our sharps and flats. So from A, if we go up a half step, that would be the black note right next to the white note. We have A sharp, but it could also be considered B flat because it's also moving down a half step from our B. So this black key could either be called A sharp or B flat. In the same way that this white key here that we see as note name C, it could also be, since it's one half step up, it could also be considered B sharp. But we're not going to worry about that. Let's take a look at this black key. Going up, we would call it C sharp. Going down, we would call it D flat. So this one is either C sharp or D flat. Right here, going up is D sharp. Going down is E flat. So we would have either D sharp or E flat. Here, this black note right here, going from F, going up to it, we'd call it an F sharp. But if we're going from G, going down to it, it would be a G flat. Same here, going up from G, this would be G sharp, but going down from A would be A flat. This black note here, going up from A would be A sharp, but going down from B would be B flat. Same as what we have over here, and it continues C to C sharp or D to D flat, just like we already did over here. So that's our sharps and flats. Might feel a little bit confusing. Why would we call it C sharp or D flat? You will learn very soon. But to start with, I want to talk about the fact that two halves make one whole, because we are going to talk about half steps and whole steps. We also talked about this a little bit last week, but I want to review it and make sure we really get it, because the next stuff we do is based completely on half steps and whole steps. I couldn't find a picture of a whole moon pie. They all had a bite out of them, which I thought was funny. But here we have half steps and whole steps. Let's take a look. On our piano keyboard, a half step is the next pitch, up or down. Okay, so it's going to be the next key, whether it's black or white, it doesn't matter. So going from a half step is going to be this black key right here. So I'm going to make a half step from this A to this black key. I'm not even going to label the black key. I just want us to know from here to here is a half step. From this black key to the next white key is also a half step. But half steps don't only happen between black and white keys. The B and the C, they are right next to each other. There is no key in between them. So these are what kind of a step? Anybody gonna answer me? Half step. Hopefully you saw I was going for my half step. Okay, so a half step is going from one pitch to the next. Doesn't matter, black or white. C to this black key is a half step. This black key to the D, the white key, also a half step. Okay? And so on. I filled it in a little bit. Let's look at this E to the F. That is a half step. Right there. The white key to the white key. On a piano, there are never two black keys together, so you're not going to have a half step between black keys. But you could have what is called a whole step, because if you remember, half plus a half equals a whole. Two halves make one whole. So let's take a look. If I go from A to this black key, I've got a half step. And if I go from this black key to this white key, B, I've got another half step. 1, 2 half steps, you guessed it, equals a whole step. Okay? I'm going to put these down by the letters for this one anyway. So A to B is a whole step because it has a pitch in the middle. But what about going from B to a whole step above B? Where is a whole step above B? That one's tricky. So I need two half steps here from B to make a whole step. So from B to C, we discussed that already. That's a half step because those two notes are right next to each other. So should I go from B to D? Well, no, because I have this one right in between. B to D would be 1, 2, 3 half steps. That's not a whole step. How many halves make a whole? 2 halves make a whole. So one half step, another half step. We've got B to this black key, make a whole step. But what if I want to go from this black key? Where is a whole step up from this black key? Well, here this D is a half step, and then I have another half step. So from this black key to this black key is another whole step. So let's take a look at G right here. If I want to go a half step up from G, where am I going to land? A half step up from G. Will I land on this white key or this black key? I will land on the black key. Going from G up a half step, lands on this black key. That turns this black key into G sharp, right here. But if I'm in A and I want to go down a half step, where would I go? I would not go to the next white key down to G. I would go down to the black key because they are right next to each other. That would be a half step down. And at that point, if we're going a half step down from A, we're calling it what? A flat. So we're looking at these half steps, and we know that this pitch here could be called G sharp or A flat. That is called enharmonic notes. So, make that a little bigger. Enharmonic notes would be a pitch that can have more than one name. So like this key here, G sharp or A flat, those are enharmonic. They are half step away from their letter name note, right? G going up a half step is G sharp, A going down a half step is A flat. That's an enharmonic note. Let's look at a couple more. Let's look at F. What is one half step below F? One half step below F, here's the adjacent key, is E. I apologize, my kids are trying to come and talk to me a little bit. If you hear footsteps and banging, that is them. So one half step below F is E. The enharmonic spelling for this could also be called F flat if you wanted to get really technical, but we're not going to get really technical. We're just going to say 1/2 step below F is E. What about 1/2 step above F? We're going to move one note up. This is going to be F sharp. Going from F, I think I said 1/2 step above E. 1/2 step above E is F. 1/2 step above F is F sharp. Okay, what's 1/2 step above F sharp? G. Okay, what's a whole step above G? Somebody, anybody? We skip the black key in between. G to A is a whole step. Okay. If you have any questions about half steps or whole steps, you can email me, text me, give me a call. We did talk about this last week. Just wanted to do it. Why do I need to know my half and whole steps, you might ask? It's because we want to build scales, and when we build scales, we know whether we have sharps or flats in the key that we're playing in. We know what chords are in the key we're playing in. Therefore, we're able to play our melodies more. We're able to play the correct chords and know very quickly how those chords are built. This will help you become a better instrumentalist. It will help you lead songs better as well, because you'll be able to pick out keys that are good for your voice and good for your instrumentalist to play in. So let's take a look. The first step to building a chord is we build, or a scale is that we build tetrachords. Tetra means 4. A tetrachord is a series of 4 notes that have a pattern of whole step, half step. The 4 notes must be in alphabetical order, like this: A, B, C, D. Going to B, B, C, D, E. Going to C, C, D, E, F. I cannot have A, B, C, C. That doesn't make sense, right? I cannot have B, C, D, D, or C, C, E, F. I cannot skip a letter, and I cannot have a letter more than once. You will understand why I'm telling you this soon. They must be in alphabetical order. And in between each of these, you have first, let's look at the A, B, C, D. Between the A and the B, you need a whole step. Between the B and the C, you need another whole step. And between the C and the D, you need a half step. So let's look. Right here is my A. I need a whole step from my A to my B. So what is a whole step above A? Here's a half step. Here's another half step. A to B natural is a whole step, right? So let's mark that. A to B. Make that a little skinnier here. So we know that I have the white keys we call the natural pitch, A to B. Okay, what do I need next? I have one whole step. I need to go up another whole step. So I have a whole step from my A to my B. I need another whole step from my B to my C. Let's take a look. From B to the white key C, well, that is a half step. So I need to make a whole step, which is 2 half steps. So I need to come up here. So we know, if we remember, this could be C sharp or D flat, right? But I need to stay in alphabetical order. I had A, then B, and I need a C. So this is going to be a C sharp. Right here. I go A to B is a whole step. B to C sharp is a whole step. I cannot say A, B, D flat because I'm skipping a C. It is A, B, C sharp, right? So that is from A to B is a whole step. From B to C sharp is a whole step. Now I need a half step from my C sharp. From C sharp, where's a half step? It is D. D natural. Those white keys are the natural pitch. So here is my A tetrachord. A, B, C sharp, D. Because that C sharp is a whole step. I've got from A to B, whole step, B to C sharp, whole step, C sharp to D is a half step. I hope that makes sense because I'm not there to take questions. Whole step, half step. That makes a tetrachord, a series of 4 notes that have a pattern of whole step, half step. Let's take a look at B. Okay, our pattern is whole step. We start at B. From B, we need to take a whole step up. Well, C is a half step. So I need to go another half step to make a whole step. I go B. This could be D flat, but would I be skipping a letter? Can I say B, D flat? No, I have to go in alphabetical order. B to C sharp. B to C sharp makes that first whole step. Okay, I need another whole step. Okay, so where am I going to go from C sharp? I could go to D, but that's a half step. So I need 2 half steps. I need to go a whole step. So I'm going from C sharp. Am I going to E flat? No, I'm not going to E flat because I need the letter D to be next. It must be in alphabetical order. B, C, D. So I'm going from B to C sharp, a whole step. I need another whole step up to D sharp. That's how we know which enharmonic pitch name to choose. D sharp or E flat? We choose D sharp because that is what's next in the alphabet. D, not. So I go B to C sharp to D sharp. B, up a whole step, up another whole step to D sharp. Now what do I need? I've done 2 whole steps, whole step, whole step. I need a half step up from C sharp. So whole step up from B is C sharp. Sorry, I need a half step up. My whole step up from C sharp is D sharp. I need the half step up from my D sharp. D sharp, a half step would be where? Right here, E. So I have an E natural. So my B tetrachord is B whole step to C sharp, whole step to D sharp, half step to E. B, C sharp, D sharp, E makes my B tetrachord. How about if I'm doing a C tetrachord? Let's look. From C, I need a whole step because that's the first step, right? That's going to be D. A whole step up from C is D. Another whole step. That's going to be E. I've got whole step, then I need a half step. Which pitch is a half step up? F. So C, D, E, F. Our C tetrachord has no sharps or flats. No sharps or flats. Now I would like you to pause the video and do the rest of these on a piece of paper. So keep this image up on the screen and starting with D, make your tetrachords on your page. Just write it out just like we did here. And I will go over the answers with you after you pause the video and finish all of this. Okay, I gave you a little blank airtime there for you to pause it. I'm going to fill in the answers now. Let's do a quick review. So we did C before. Let's look at D. From D, we go a whole step up to E. Then we go another whole step up to F sharp. Then we go a half step to G. Whole step, half step. D, E, F sharp, G. From E, we go up a whole step to F sharp. Remember, we have to keep it in alphabetical order. F sharp, another whole step to G sharp. Up a half step to A. E, F sharp, G sharp, A is your E tetrachord. Let's do our F tetrachord. From F, I go a whole step to G, another whole step to A. I go up a half step to B flat. It is not A sharp because I have to go in alphabetical order. It is B flat, F, G, A, B flat. Let's do our G tetrachord. Here, G, I go up a whole step to A, I go up a whole step to B, and then I take a half step to C. Our G tetrachord, whole step, half step, G, A, B, C. And then we're back to A again. A, go a whole step up to B, whole step up to C sharp, and a half step to D. If you totally bombed getting all of this right, that's okay. We will talk about it next time. I have a feeling most of you are probably getting it. Unless I'm a terrible teacher, then that's also possible. So these are our tetrachords, a series of 4 notes that have a pattern of whole step, half step. They must be in alphabetical order. Next, we are going to look at how a major scale is made. The major scale consists of 8th notes, whereas the tetrachord was 4 notes. The major scale is 8 notes, not 8th notes, 8 notes. A major scale is made by 2 tetrachords that are joined together by a whole step in between them. We talked about how a tetrachord is made with 4 pitches, whole step, half step, right? So I take one tetrachord, I add a whole step, and I add another tetrachord, whole step, half step. Again, these must be in alphabetical order. A note name cannot repeat itself. I cannot say A, B, C, C, E. It has to be A, B, C, D, right? This determines the difference between which enharmonic notes we use, like G sharp or A flat. Remember, they're the same pitch, but they just have a different name depending on which tetrachord you're using. This determines whether it will be a flat or sharp key signature. Okay, so they must be in alphabetical order, cannot repeat themselves. It determines the difference between enharmonic notes, which therefore determines whether it will be a flat or sharp key signature. You will not have sharps and flats in one key signature. It will always be either sharp or flat. So let's put a couple tetrachords together. I'm going to build a couple of scales by doing this, just so you get the idea. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this will be your homework this week. So I've got one tetrachord here, a whole step in between, and another tetrachord. Again, they have to go in alphabetical order. I can't do an A tetrachord, A, B, C, D, followed by a B tetrachord, B, C, D, E, right? I have to do A, B, C, D, go a whole step up to E, then my F, G, A. So let's do an A major scale. Are we ready? I'm preparing my 2 tetrachords here. Let's build our A tetrachord. Are we ready? We need a whole step, half step. So we know a whole step up from A is B. A whole step up from B is C sharp. So I have here my A tetrachord. A, B, C sharp. From C sharp, I go up a half step to D. Whole step, half step. That builds my A tetrachord. After my A tetrachord, which is my first tetrachord, I go up a whole step from my last pitch. D, I go up a whole step. Right here, I start my second tetrachord. So I go up a whole step to F sharp right here, E, F sharp. I go up another whole step to G sharp because it has to be alphabetical order, E, F, G, right? E, whole step to G sharp, then a half step up from there, A, whole step, half step. So I've got my 2 tetrachords here, A tetrachord, a whole step between my D and my E, and an E tetrachord. So my A major scale is A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. whole step, half step, first tetrachord. Go up a whole step from there, build my second tetrachord, whole step, half step. So I want you, on the paper you have right now, to write down this pattern right here, what you see here. Major scale is made up by 2 tetrachords with a whole step in between them. Whole step, half step. Whole step, half step. For your homework this week, finish these. Write out each of the scales using this pattern. These are just 2 tetrachords joined together by a whole step. Again, if you have questions or you feel like you just don't get it at all, you can text me or call me and I will do a thorough review next week. I will see you then. Bye.